Let's get to the news. President Biden visited an Amtrak maintenance facility today in Delaware. So we got an extra hour of sleep this weekend, but he sure did not too excited. Former President Trump took the witness stand today in his civil fraud trial. He swore to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and then everyone just laughed and laughed. While testifying during his civil fraud trial today, former President Trump said that he believes his Mar-a-Lago resort is worth between $1 and $1.5 billion. Very smart. The insanity defense. Dude, you bought it for $10 million in 1985, and now it's worth $1.5 billion? The only way I would believe that is if it was in Brooklyn. Then that's about right, maybe a little low. While testifying today, former President Trump also appeared to forget he wasn't president in 2021. Well, so did half the country. After FBI agents raided the home of his chief fundraiser last week, New York Mayor Eric Adams said, quote, "Where there's smoke, there's not always fire." Yes, that famous expression. Okay, so we found out he's shady, but you know what they say, late is worse than never. The third Republican presidential primary debate will be held Wednesday in Miami, or as it's now dubbed, Who Wants to Be a Vice President? Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman criticized California Governor Gavin Newsom over the weekend and said he was secretly running for president, as opposed to Fetterman, who looks like he's running for guy who doesn't wipe down the equipment at the gym. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg revealed on Friday that he tore his ACL while training for a competitive MMA fight. Apparently what happened was there was a coffee table in the way. The fastest runner in the New York City Marathon yesterday finished the course in just under 2 hours and 5 minutes, a full 10 minutes faster than if he had taken the bus. Better luck next year, the bus. Archaeologists in Germany believe they've discovered the ancient remains of a husband and wife buried in the same casket. Her idea. Bays! We're going to win them back with this one. And finally, the American Jesus. I said this word wrong last week, and I got a lot of angry notes from ornithologists. And now I'm in my head about it. And finally, the American Bird People Society announced, it's fine, it's an either or. It's famously an either or. Announced last week that it is renaming birds that are currently named after problematic people. Though in retrospect, it was never really fair to name that one Jared from Subway. Former President Trump testified yesterday at his civil fraud trial and spent nearly 4 hours on the witness stand, but the judge had to call it a day before they could ask him a third question. During his testimony yesterday, former President Trump pulled a piece of paper out of his suit jacket that he claimed would clear his name, but the judge would not let him read it, because, as usual, it was classified. That's right, during his civil fraud trial, Trump pulled a piece of paper out of his suit jacket and said it would completely clear his name. Dude, you couldn't have cleared your name if you'd pulled out a neuralizer from Men in Black. What piece of paper could possibly clear your name? Was it a birth certificate with a different name? Your Honor, this clears my name because, as you can see, my name is Reginald Periwinkle. You've got the wrong guy. Ivanka Trump is set to testify tomorrow as part of the civil fraud trial against former President Trump, making it, the first thing she's been invited to in New York in 8 years. Democrats, have her over to your house. Feel so bad about it. Democrats reportedly have concerns about President Biden's re-election campaign and are worried that his political advisors are ignoring warning signs of sinking support. Said Biden, "There's nothing to worry about, right, Jill?" Jill? Amid reports that he has declined an invitation to attend King Charles's 75th birthday party, a spokesperson for Prince Harry said that he never received an invite, or more likely, Meghan got the mail that day. Guys, let me tell you something. I don't think either of them get the mail. Elon Musk's brain implant company Neuralink has announced that it's looking for volunteers for human testing. Well, actually, what they said was fresh volunteers. That's right, Musk's brain implant company has announced it's looking for volunteers for human testing. I don't think he should be meddling with something he doesn't really understand, like humans. The co-working, I love what he did with Twitter. I'd love to get him up in my brain. Love to get him up there to fiddle around. Now it's not called the brain anymore, it's called B. The co-working space company WeWork filed yesterday for bankruptcy. Wait a minute, again? You already went out of business. I watched a whole miniseries about how you went out of business. And you were still in business? Oh my God, Trump's gonna win again, isn't he? According to a new study, daily marijuana use could increase the risk of a heart attack, and that's why I only smoke it nightly. Using my B. The CDC announced yesterday it will expand its airport disease surveillance program to include more than 30 pathogens. Cool. I think I know where you can find 27 of them. The makers of, you guys all got feet. Everybody's like, oh, feet, a human foot. I would never. The makers of M&M's have unveiled a new holiday flavor, Toasty Vanilla, which features white chocolate candies coated in brown, white, and vanilla shell. It's the holiday treat that will have everyone saying, do you have any normal ones? And finally, according to the latest numbers, Taylor Swift's new album, 1989 Taylor's Version, has sold 1.6 million units in the US, and it's made her almost 8 cents on Spotify. According to a new poll, President Biden's approval rating dropped to 39%, but he's thinking he can get that back up once he's indicted a few times. President Biden participated in yesterday's White House Demo Day, showcasing new technologies from across the country, and was way too easily impressed. Sir, that's the office printer. Look at this thing. Former President Trump praised his daughter Ivanka this morning ahead of her taking the witness stand at his civil fraud trial and called her, quote, my wonderful and beautiful daughter. Weird, when his sons were testifying, he didn't have much to say about them, but now that it's Ivanka, he's talking to her like she has medical power of attorney over him. My wonderful and beautiful daughter would never pull the plug on her sick father. I could recover. A lot of people are saying I could recover. Ahead of Ivanka Trump's testimony today, former President Trump complained in a post on Truth Social that the judge and state prosecutors were, quote, making me look bad. And then he sprayed his face bronze, combed his ear hair to the center of his head, yanked his tie down to his knees, and left the house for the day. During a hearing yesterday of the UK's official coronavirus inquiry, a former aide said that then Prime Minister Boris Johnson had asked at the start of the pandemic to be injected with COVID-19 live on television. Way too risky, said his advisors about putting him live on television. The Boris Johnson photo just getting laughs. Just getting laughs. It's good every now and then when you go, yeah, we're not the only one who had one of those. Other people had one of those. Texas Senator Ted Cruz said in a new interview that he plans to run for president again someday and added, quote, I loved running for president in 2016. We came incredibly close. We came within inches of winning. I guess in the same way that the moon is within 16 billion inches of the earth. Texas Senator Ted Cruz released his new book yesterday titled Unwoke, How to Defeat Cultural Marxism in America. And if you really want to be unwoke, he also reads the audiobook. New York Mets owner Steve Cohen yesterday unveiled his plans for a new casino, hotel, and music venue near Citi Field, which is expected to cost $8 billion, or roughly 1 billion times as much as the average Mets ticket in September. So much math in that joke. Not just math, but then calendar. To get that punchline, you had to do math, then you had to do calendar. Then you had to do baseball. I can't believe it went as well as it did. People magazine announced yesterday that it is named actor Patrick Dempsey the sexiest man alive. Huh. You guys know we were only supposed to set our clocks back 1 hour, right? I will say, I read that joke first, and then I saw a picture, and I'm like, pretty sexy. I'm not complaining about the pic. And finally, 3 pandas from the Smithsonian National Zoo were returned to China today, packed in a special crate on a FedEx plane, or as Southwest calls it, Economy Plus. President Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping are reportedly prepared to announce the return of the direct military hotline, and this is fun, they're letting Biden pick the phone. The third Republican presidential debate was held last night in Miami. What's the point? It's like going to an NSYNC concert without Justin. We don't know the rest of you. During the first few minutes of last night's debate, moderator Lester Holt admonished the crowd several times for cheering and applauding, saying, quote, "Let's not do this. Man, you know our political decorum is in bad shape when the moderator has to talk to the audience like they're his ex-wife. Can we not do this today, Bethany? I'm just here to drop off the kids." During last night's debate, Vivek Ramaswamy criticized Nikki Haley's foreign policy views and said she was, quote, Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels. "Hey, I'm right here," said Ron DeSantis. After Vivek Ramaswamy criticized Nikki Haley's daughter for using TikTok during last night's debate, Haley told Ramaswamy to, quote, "Keep my daughter's name out of your voice." And even though he was thousands of miles away, Chris Rock instinctively ducked. During last night's debate, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said that voters shouldn't support former President Trump in 2024 and added that he's a, quote, different guy than he was in 2016. Of course, thanks to Trump, we're all different guys than we were in 2016. Politico published an article today after last night's debate titled "Tim Scott's Girlfriend Is in Fact Real. However, jury's still out on Tim Scott." According to a new report, the quality of the in-flight food on board Air Force Two has improved. Oh, you mean since Mike Pence used it? The guy who thinks oregano is a sin? He threw away the beverage cart when that Sprite gave him a hangover. The FBI and Italian authorities announced yesterday they arrested 17 men allegedly connected with the Gambino crime family on charges including mafia association and arson, though officials say it could still be weeks before Netflix is able to release a show about it. A bear in Florida recently stole a $45 Taco Bell order from the front porch of a home. Wait a minute, how do you spend $45 at Taco Bell? What did you order? All of it? And finally, the FDA has launched an investigation into counterfeit versions of the weight loss drug Ozempic. Users first became suspicious when they noticed Wilma